Look at this.
In the complete opposite there.
It is April 2026, and the list of the most feared world-class strikers on the planet is out. Harry Kane, Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, Victor Osimhen, and the rising star Benjamin Šeško. But look closer at that list. Not a single one of them is from Germany, Italy, or Spain. These three nations have won a combined total of 9 World Cups, yet they currently have a 0% share of the world's elite, top 5 number 9s. We are living in a time where Norway and Nigeria are producing more lethal physical finishers than the countries that literally invented modern tactical football. The pure striker has become a myth in Western Europe, replaced by a generation of soft attackers who would rather play a 5-yard pass than take a shot on target. The system is broken, and if we don't fix how we train young forwards, these giants will never dominate the global stage again. Germany is the most embarrassing example of this decline because they used to be the world's factory for the most efficient, machine-like goal scorers. When you think of German football, you think of Gerd Müller, the Bomber der Nation, who scored 68 goals in 62 games for his country. You think of Miroslav Klose, the all-time World Cup top scorer who treated the box like his personal office. But since Klose retired in 2014, Germany has fallen into a trash striker era that has turned the national team into a tactical experiment gone wrong. They spent years trying to convince us that Timo Werner was the answer, despite him missing more sitters in London and Leipzig than he actually converted. They tried playing Mario Götze as a false 9. They tried Kai Havertz, who is a brilliant footballer but often looks lost when he has to be the primary finisher. Germany has become a nation of world-class goalkeepers like Manuel Neuer and Marc-André ter Stegen. But they have completely forgotten how to train the men who are supposed to beat them. The problem with German youth development is that they became obsessed with the universal player. They wanted every player on the pitch to be a creative midfielder. In 2026, Julian Nagelsmann is recorded as having growing concerns because his main options, Havertz and even Dennis Undav, just aren't box-dominant threats. There is no plan B when the tiki-taka fails. The DFB has effectively outlawed the target man from their philosophy for a decade. And now they are panicking because they have no one to finish the 20 chances they create every game. The striker position in Germany has become a vacancy that nobody is qualified to fill. The only light in the darkness is Nick Woltemade. Standing at a massive 6'6", Woltemade is a physical anomaly in a system that usually produces 5'9" midfielders. After a big move to Newcastle, he has recorded some impressive performances, but he is currently fighting through a dip in form while Nagelsmann desperately looks for options before the World Cup. There is also hope for kids like Nelson Wiper and Paris Brunner, but they are fighting against a system that still treats traditional striking as an outdated concept. Woltemade is the future, but he is an accident of nature, not a successful product of the German coaching manual. Then we have Italy, the land of Catenaccio and legendary defensive blocks. Italy has always been defined by its defenders, Maldini, Baresi, Cannavaro. But they used to have the world-class strikers to match, Paolo Rossi, Christian Vieri, Luca Toni, and the legendary Pippo Inzaghi. Since that generation retired, Italy has been in a striker drought that has lasted for over a decade. We had to endure the trash era of Ciro Immobile and Andrea Belotti. Immobile is a king for Lazio in Serie A, but for Italy, he looked like he was playing in lead boots the moment he reached a major tournament. The Italian system has become so obsessed with tactical discipline and defensive shape that young strikers are taught to be functional rather than ferocious. Italian football is currently facing its darkest hour, having been reported to miss a third straight World Cup in 2026. This 16-year drought is a direct result of a lack of firepower. The infrastructure in Italy hasn't kept up with the rest of Europe, and the coaching focuses so much on risk management that no striker ever develops the arrogance needed to be world-class. They play with an empty tank, focusing on ball-oriented defending rather than aggressive attacking. Italy has become a nation that knows how to not lose, but has completely forgotten how to win by scoring goals. In 2026, all Italian hopes are pinned on Francesco Camarda to save the nation. At 18 years old, Camarda is the biggest prospect Italy has had in a generation. He has been breaking scoring records at the AC Milan Academy for years, scoring hundreds of goals before he was legally an adult. He is a pure center forward who lives for the penalty area. While he spent time on loan at Lecce this season to get minutes, recording 1 goal and 1 assist in 748 minutes, the pressure on his shoulders is insane. If Camarda doesn't develop into a superstar, Italy is genuinely finished. They have become a nation of elite defenders who have nobody to defend against in training because their attackers are all playing as defensive wingers. Spain is perhaps the most frustrating case because they have the most technical talent but the worst philosophy for producing finishers. Aside from the peak years of Fernando Torres and the legendary Alfredo Di Stefano, Spain's history of pure world-class strikers is surprisingly thin. People will argue that Raúl and David Villa were legends, but let's be real. Compared to the true physical monsters like original Ronaldo or Thierry Henry, they were mid-strikers. They were smart and technical, but they weren't the scary, game-breaking forces that could bully an entire defense. Wait! Before you continue watching this video, do y'all currently have plans to buy your favorite football jerseys? The FIFA World Cup is just around the corner. Real jerseys are costing more than $200 nowadays. That for just a shirt? What if I say you can now get it for just $15 with no compromise in quality? Go to peterbot99.com. They have the latest jerseys and the oldest ones too. Plus, it's just $15. Order your jerseys before the World Cup starts. Check out the link in the description. Back to the video. Since Villa retired, Spain has survived on vibes and Alvaro Morata. Morata is the definition of a trash elite player. He is a player who looks like a superstar for 80 minutes and then misses a tap-in that costs his team the trophy. Spain's greatest weakness heading into the 2026 World Cup is their lack of a world-class striker. Fences, they hit a wall. Their entire identity is built around the midfield masterclass. In Spain, if you aren't a 5'8" technician who can complete 100 side, this Barcelonification has made the national team predictable. They create numerous chances through Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, but there is no one in the middle true at La Masia. Barcelona's academy is a factory for controllers like Xavi, Iniesta, and Gavi, but it is a graveyard for strikers. La Masia wants their number 9s to behave like number 10s. They want them to drop deep, link the play, and be unselfish. This has created a generation of the ego or the hunger to demand the ball and finish at all costs. They are trained to keep the ball, not to kill the game. In 2026, we are finally seeing a slight rebellion against this style. Samu Agahoa Omorodion is the big name everyone is talking about. At FC Porto, he has been recorded as one of the most explosive strikers in Europe, scoring 13 goals in the 2025-2026 season before a major injury slowed down his momentum. He is a physical beast who doesn't care about tiki-taka. Then there is Marc Guiu, who left Barcelona for Chelsea to escape the false 9 trap. At Real Madrid, we have Gonzalo Garcia, who has been bagging goals for Castilla and getting minutes in La Liga, scoring a massive header against Real Sociedad recently. These players are the black sheep of Spanish football because they actually want to be traditional strikers. The crisis in Western Europe is a choice. These countries decided that intelligence while South America and even Africa continue to produce raw, aggressive strikers like Darwin Núñez or Victor Osimhen, Europe is producing tidy players who are afraid to make a mistake. The star boys of Spain, Italy, and Germany are all wearing number 8 or 10, while the number 9 shirt is worn by a system player who doesn't scare anyone. We have traded the soul of the striker for the safety of the rondo. The data doesn't lie. Look at the top scorers in the big leagues in 2026. You won't find many local names at the top of the list in Berlin, Rome, or Madrid. The next Messi or next Xavi is everywhere, but the next Gerd Müller or next Pippo Inzaghi is nowhere to be found. Until the academies in these 3 countries start letting kids be selfish and direct again, they will continue to dominate the possession stats while losing to teams that actually have a striker. The era of the false 9 has failed, and it's time to bring back the killers. Tell me in the comments, do you think the pure striker is dead in the Axis powers, or is this due to a certain guy? Do subscribe as I made a lot of effort in making this video. Thank you guys!